Northern Virginia man who allegedly shot and killed a high school student who was trying to break into his house as part of an apparent TikTok challenge.
A few moments later.
After teens tell authorities an age-old childhood prank, the ding-dong ditch, turned deadly. A high school senior shot to death while doing the stunt, his friends say, for a TikTok video.
So at 3 o'clock in the morning, teens are going around kicking on doors and ringing doorbells, and one happens to get shot and killed. Let's talk about it. Welcome to Spotsylvania County in Virginia. Yeah, it's called Spotsylvania. Now, it's Saturday night at 3 o'clock in the morning, and this homeowner hears banging at the front door. The homeowner arms himself and then goes to the front door to see what's going on. Now, let's say when he gets downstairs, he sees 3 people outside of the door, but he doesn't know what they're doing. Remember, it's 3 a.m. Now, because of all the banging and the knocking, he thinks this may be a burglary in progress and actually calls 911 to report a burglary in progress.
Detectives say the initial 911 call was for an attempted home burglary that ended with Butler, who lives in the home, opening fire.
The gunshot wound to the chest. I'm back to the scene for an additional subject.
Now, this is where things get interesting. Other homeowners in the neighborhood also reported that someone was going around in the middle of the night kicking and banging on doors, not just ringing the doorbell and running, but actually violently kicking and banging on doors and windows.
So not long ago, guys, I met with a neighbor here who showed me video from in front of his home not long before the shooting down the street. And the video, he wouldn't share it with us yet, but it shows 3 teenagers approaching his house and not ringing the doorbell and running, but banging and kicking his garage door. He says they weren't trying to break into his house, but this was not just simply ringing and running.
So now it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You got people kicking and banging on your door. You're downstairs with the gun. You see people on your porch looking into your window. So the homeowner fired. One of the teens is hit and he's killed. The other one is wounded, and the third teen runs away. Police get to the scene, and it's all carnage.
The Spotsylvania County Sheriff's Office saying in a press release it was 3 a.m. Saturday morning when they got a call for a burglary in progress where shots were fired. Deputies found 2 people with gunshot wounds on the scene. 18-year-old Michael Bosworth Jr. was transported to a local hospital where he died just hours before his high school prom. His stepfather telling me he was a student athlete who played lacrosse, football, and wrestled, now gone. Another teen grazed with a bullet, telling investigators, according to court records, they weren't trying to break into the home to steal anything. They were just ringing doorbells and running away. And a third teen, not shot, telling authorities the same story and showing police a similar video from earlier that night. The question is whether a resident can claim self-defense in such a case.
So now we have the other side of the story. The teens are saying, hey, we were just filming this for TikTok. We were going and ringing on doorbells, and next thing you know, this guy's coming down the stairs firing. Now, as you just heard, the teens were claiming that they were committing a prank, and that prank is called the Ding Dong Ditch Challenge. Here's an example from YouTube.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
So that's the plan. Just knock on doors and run away. But when you knock on these doors and how you knock on these doors is very, very important. Doing this type of kicking and banging on doors at 3 o'clock in the morning is a lot different than just ringing the doorbell in the middle of the afternoon. Now, funny enough, when it comes to these TikTok pranks, they may need to put those warning labels that say, don't try this at home.
Warning, please do not attempt to perform any of the stunts or activities in this show, as they are dangerous and could lead to serious injury. Video submissions of any kind are not accepted by MTV or the producers.
Now, you see these type of warnings a lot in product liability cases, and that's because the law says if you're selling a product to the public that can harm somebody, then you have to be warned before using that product. Like, for instance, these sleeping pills, Nitol. On the back it says, warning, may make you sleepy. Or this obvious warning from chainsaw manufacturers to do not hold the wrong end of the chainsaw. And the craziness about it is if they didn't warn you, people would be able to sue under US law claiming there was a failure to warn. And there are many times when manufacturers don't warn the public about serious issues with their products. For instance, there's a product out there that's being marketed to children that's been linked to self-deletion, attempted suicide, rage, seizures, depression, anxiety, and panic disorders. And if you're a parent and gave your child this product, would you want to know these harmful effects could happen? Or you may have already known that video games are as addictive as cocaine and gambling. Or like Time Magazine calls it, 2 hours of gaming is like doing a line of cocaine. That's why we're suing the gaming companies. That's because they designed the games to be as addictive as possible and didn't warn parents of the negative consequences. Now, I've teamed up with lawyers across the country, and we're filing lawsuits nationwide against developers who knew their games were engineered to addict you to playing, and they failed to warn you of those dangers. Now, to see if you qualify, go to videogameclaimshelp.com. The link is in the description or in the pinned comment, or scan the QR code on the screen. Now, back to the video. Now, there has been a lot of cases in which people ring the wrong door and they're shot by the homeowner who's scared to death that somebody knocked on our door. Here are a couple of examples.
It appears to be a mistake gone terribly wrong. A 20-year-old college student left dead after trying to enter the wrong house on his South Carolina street. Tonight, Nick D'Onofrio from Madison, Connecticut is being remembered as an exceptional student and athlete.
I remember the last time we played together, our senior year, we were both very emotional because we knew it was the last time we'd ever be on the court together.
The sophomore at the University of South Carolina had recently moved into a house on South Holly Street, the same street where police say a call came from at 2 a.m. Saturday. First, a report of a burglary.
Called to the subject, broke in the door.
Quickly upgraded to shots fired.
I don't know what the subject was hit.
Police say when they arrived, D'Onofrio was deceased, a gunshot wound to the upper body. They have not said who shot him.
A community is demanding answers after a black teenager was shot after ringing the wrong doorbell. Police say the teen went to pick up his siblings on Thursday night, mistakenly went to the wrong house where a resident of the home shot him twice. The 16-year-old is said to be in stable condition at this hour.
This also happened when some teens made a mistake and drove into the wrong driveway, and one was killed.
Arriving at the wrong address also cost a 20-year-old woman in upstate New York her life. The man who allegedly shot her now facing second-degree murder charges. Authorities say that Kaylin Gillis and 3 friends were driving on Saturday night looking for a friend's house when they turned into the wrong driveway at a rural home. Police say the homeowner fired 2 shots from his porch, striking Gillis, who was a passenger. 65-year-old Kevin Monahan was arrested for the fatal shooting.
Now, obviously, the pattern of all these cases is that people were lost, they go into the wrong property in the driveway or what have you, and the homeowner overreacts and shoots them. And these homeowners have been getting some serious penalties for shooting unarmed people for no reason at all. Like the homeowner that shot the girl in his driveway, he got 25 years.
You murdered Kaylin Gillis, you shot at a car full of people, and you didn't care what would happen. And you repeatedly lied about it. You deserve to spend the maximum time in prison allowable under our law. I sentence you to a term of 25 years to life in prison.
Now, in all those cases, the shooter went to jail on either a murder charge or a manslaughter charge. And the reason why is simple. It was unreasonable for someone to knock at the door and you respond to a knock with shooting. But this case, the facts are a little different. For instance, in all those other cases, the person trespassing on the property didn't do anything else but ring the doorbell, or in some cases drove onto the property and then turned around to drive out. Now, in the state of Virginia, just like in every other state in the United States, if someone is going to use deadly physical force, they can only use it in response to a deadly physical force threat. And the law presumes that if you're in your house and someone is trying to break into your home, that could be perceived as a deadly physical force threat, allowing you to use deadly physical force to stop that person in a breaking into your home. Now, someone trying to commit a burglary is different than someone who trespasses onto your property and doesn't present a deadly physical force threat. And now in this case, how do you know which is which? Was the homeowner just overreacting to somebody ringing the doorbell? Or were these teens kicking and banging on the door in a way which would make someone fearful that a burglary was being committed and allowed them to respond to that perceived threat with deadly physical force? Well, police and prosecutors decided to let a jury decide who has the right end of the stick. They didn't charge the teens with burglary for kicking on the door. They charged the homeowner for murder.
Arrested for second-degree murder, malicious wounding, and firearms charges. Tyler Chase Butler faced a judge this morning. The 27-year-old is ordered to stay in jail without bond after he was accused of shooting and killing 18-year-old Massaponic High senior Michael Bosworth.
Give a male with a gunshot wound to the chest.
The sheriff's office says Butler fired shots at Bosworth and 2 other teenagers because he thought they were breaking into his house along Mackenzie Lane in Fredericksburg. It happened around 3 a.m. Saturday. Documents reveal a much different story. They say the 2 other teens who survived claimed they were playing the Ding Dong Ditch Challenge. It's a TikTok prank where kids try to kick a stranger's front door and run away. According to the detective, he and his friends had hit a couple of doors in the neighborhood. The juvenile is not familiar with the neighborhood that they were in. The juvenile said as they were running from a residence, he and his friends were shot at.
All right, so I'm throwing it to you. What do you feel about this situation? On one hand, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You got 3 people on your porch. As the other neighbors reported, they're kicking and banging on the door. Would you be in fear that someone's trying to break into your home? Would you be in fear for your life or the safety of other people who are living in that home? Or would you be one of those people who would have known for a fact that, hey, it's 3 a.m., but teens are kicking indoors and banging on garages, not because they're trying to break in, because they're having a good time. So now remember, it's going to be regular people like you who are going to determine whether this guy goes to jail for the rest of his life or if he's going to be able to claim self-defense. So you've heard both sides. Let me know how you feel in the comment section, because right now, to be honest with you, I would be very close to a not guilty based on self-defense. If the knocking was as dramatic as the neighbor said, where the person's kicking and banging and making a lot of noise, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, that would lead me to say, yes, that person in that house may have some reasonable fear. But if it's more like what the teens are saying, we just knocked on the door, running away, and people started shooting at us, that would lead me to a murder charge. But again, it all depends on the facts. As always, don't forget, like, share, subscribe, do like great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.